This is the Channel 2 News at 10 with Malia Matic, Hawaii's #1 news.
Funding falls short for the state's public libraries. A grenade injures several Marines on the Big Island. And Afghanistan's vice president is gunned down in Kabul. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for our Channel 2 News at 10 on this Saturday, the 6th of June. The legislature has come under fire by some for not properly financing the Hawaii public library system, but one lawmaker has a criticism of his own. He says the state librarian is in the wrong for refusing to open a new library. Donald De La Cruz reports.
That's a good one anyway.
Book lovers were out in force today at the 55th annual book sale. It's an event hosted by the Friends of the Library of Hawaii, which for the past 123 years has supported the public library system. The money made here, however, cannot make up the cost to completely fund a financially strapped department.
The librarian put in the request, and the legislature didn't fund it. And on top of not funding it, they even took another 2% cut out of the total budget packet.
Jackie says last year's fundraiser put $108,000 into the system, which includes 50 operating public libraries.
The Friends of the Library are selling off books, and they're selling them for pennies on a dollar. Those books could have been given to Kapolei Library, at least loaned temporarily, to open this library.
The Kapolei Public Library is a beautiful but empty building. The 1998 legislature allocated capital funds to build it, but the state librarian says this past legislature failed to cover operational costs.
If you're going to build a building and open as a library, that you have to be able to pay the bills.
The schools didn't get what they wanted. I don't see a school closed. The schools opened with what they had.
Lowell says $1.7 million is needed to open up this library. Donations plus state funds for the library total $350,000. which Lowell says will go toward building the Kapolei Library's collection.
For a library, you need shelves, you need books. None of those things have been funded. Without the proper funding, you can't run a facility.
Moses says he believes the current amount of donated books and the number of volunteers willing to work in the library should warrant its opening. But Lowell says there are federal and state requirements that must be met.
We have to have the union's agreements. So that means we can't have volunteers doing work that would normally be assigned to library staff.
Even if the next legislature approves the money needed for the library to operate, the funds don't become available until the governor signs the budget bill. Donalyn De La Cruz, Channel 2 News.
The Friends of the Library of Hawaii book sale continues through July 13th. Tragedy has hit the RIMPAC 2002 exercise as a Peruvian sailor was fatally struck yesterday by a gun-loading mechanism aboard the frigate BAP Montero off the coast of Kauai. The sailor was attempting to clear the gun mount after it had misfired while conducting a ship-sinking exercise. The sailor's name is being withheld until notification of next of kin. And on the Big Island, 8 U.S. Marines who were hurt after a grenade exploded during training are recovering from their injuries tonight. The Marines, all stationed at Kaneohe Marine Corps Base, were participating in training exercises at Pohakuloa Training Area in support of RIMPAC 2002. A grenade inadvertently deflected back into a trench and detonated where the Marines were huddled. 5 of the Marines were medevaced to the area medical aid station, and the other 3 were flown to Hilo Hospital. 7 of the victims have since been moved to Tripler Army Medical Center. The Honolulu Fire Department is once again asking for the public's help tonight. Water safety officials found a bluish-green kayak off of Police Beach in Haleiwa around 5 o'clock this evening. They suspect the kayaker to be missing and conducted an intensive search in coordination with the Honolulu Fire Department, but were unsuccessful. Officials hope that the kayaker has abandoned his vessel and returned home safely. If anybody has information about the missing kayak or owner, please call the fire department at 911. King Street between Richards and Punchbowl Streets in downtown Honolulu was closed until 8 this evening for the filming of a Bruce Willis movie currently titled Tears of the Sun. The area fronting Ali'iolani Hale was used to double as a presidential palace in Nigeria for a scene shot today. Bruce Willis was not at today's filming. The set, which includes a temporary fence, is expected to be cleared by Monday. U.S. Representative Patsy Mink says she expects the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco to overturn a ruling on the Pledge of Allegiance. A California judge who earlier ruled that the pledge unconstitutional in public schools blocked it from being enforced a day after his controversial ruling. Mink says the challenge came at an inappropriate time in history.
The country's sense of patriotism and allegiance to our country has never been higher in my view. And so to have the courts challenge the pledge, I think was very disturbing to vast majority of the people of Hawaii as well as throughout the country.
She says Congress almost unanimously objected to the challenge to the Pledge of Allegiance in schools. Armed law enforcement officers will soon be stationed throughout public areas of airports. The Transportation Security Administration made the announcement following Thursday's deadly shooting at the Los Angeles International Airport. Uniformed officers and undercover investigators will be placed throughout the airport, both beyond the checkpoints and in the public areas. The undercover investigators will look for suspicious individuals and intervene when necessary. No word yet on how the new system will affect Hawaii's airports. One of Afghanistan's new vice presidents was gunned down in a Kabul street today. Government officials called the assassination a terrorist act. Kelly Wallace is with the president in Kennebunkport, Maine, with U.S. reaction.
Vacationing for the weekend in Maine, President Bush condemns the killing of an Afghan vice president, but says it is too soon to know if terrorists were behind the attack.
It could be that. It could be drug lords. It could be longtime rivals. Who knows? All we know is a good man is dead, and we mourn his loss.
A member of the president's national security team calls Afghan President Karzai, offering American help to track down those responsible. It is the second assassination of an Afghan government leader this year. The tourism minister was killed at the Kabul airport in February. Mr. Bush says the U.S. will not be deterred.
You know, we're just more resolved than ever to bring stability to the country.
But some Democratic lawmakers say the Bush administration needs to do more, such as supporting the expansion of a multinational peacekeeping force beyond Kabul to the entire country, something the U.S. has been reluctant to do.
I think that we're seeing here a need for a broader presence if we're really going to get the job done. This is something we probably can't do halfway or on the cheap, so to speak.
Adding to the challenges, anger following the deaths of at least 48 Afghans in a U.S. military operation the Pentagon says was targeting al-Qaeda and Taliban operatives. Saturday, the U.S. acknowledges for the first time that civilians were unintentionally killed. President Karzai, facing criticism he is too close to the West, calls for better coordination between U.S. and Afghan forces. Mr. Bush tries to heal any wounds.
Anytime innocent life is lost, we're sad. Our country values life, all life, and but we'll find out what the facts are, and then we'll address it accordingly.
But this all shows the administration's work trying to prevent Afghanistan from sinking back into a haven for terrorists won't be easy or wrapped up anytime soon. A reality that could complicate the president's plans to expand the war on terrorism even further. Kelly Wallace, CNN, Kennebunkport, Maine.
A massive pileup on a well-traveled highway in Brazil has killed 13 people. 20 vehicles slammed into one another yesterday near the city of Sorocaba, about 60 miles west of Sao Paulo. No word yet on how many people were injured. Traffic was tied up for hours as crews worked to clear the roads and investigate the crash. Police blame the deadly accident on poor visibility caused by heavy fog in the area. Hundreds more are fleeing their homes in Texas ahead of rapidly rising floodwaters. A storm has already dumped more than 2 feet of rain in parts of Texas since Monday, with more heavy rain in the forecast through next week. Authorities are using helicopters, boats, and military vehicles to rescue people trapped by the rising waters. The flooding has already killed 8 people and caused extensive damage throughout the Lone Star State. Coming up next on Channel 2 News, a classic novel takes center stage in the islands, and still to come, an educational summertime alternative for island families. And in sports, the U.S. softball team takes on China in the 2002 U.S. Cup.
Each injury impacts an individual differently. Mainly, a personal injury attorney's job is to individualize each claim. Each person they represent has to be a real person. And that's especially true when you're dealing with insurance companies. You have to cause the insurance company to look on the client as a person, not as a file or a file number. And so with our clients, we view each one as being a special person.
Searching for that special someone? Romance always has a beginning. So pick up the phone and call 808-521-6696. Experience exciting voice personals and live chat right here in Hawaii. Ladies meet single men looking for much more than one night. And guys get together with local women who know what they want. Are you ready? Then call 808-521-6696. The Acme Dating Company. Because romance always has a beginning. Why not let yours start now?
Broadway has often turned to the classics for its most loved productions. One of those classics, Man of La Mancha, will be produced on the Big Island for the next 2 weekends. Kirk Matthews recently talked with the star of the musical, Buzz Tennant, tonight's featured guest in the spotlight.
To reach the unreachable star.
Don Quixote is a role that Buzz Tennant longed to play his entire adult life, after seeing it performed by Richard Kiley when Buzz was a young man.
I was, as I say, enthralled and inspired by his charisma, his dramatic intensity, beautiful voice, and I just thought one day I would love to do this role.
Man of La Mancha is based on the Cervantes story of Don Quixote, a name we frequently associate with unwinnable battles or standards set so high they will never be attained. But Tennant feels there is much more to the character than that, especially in light of America's experience since September 11th.
Don Quixote belonged to a more graceful time, the age of chivalry, gentlemanly manners and unrequited love. And I think that we look up to him because he inspires us. And he is a universal archetype, the quintessential hero.
The Big Island production, directed by Susie Bond, draws on many resources in the community. It was staged just last February, and many of the same performers will grace the stage again. Melanie Robinson plays Dulcinea, and Jordan Stewart is featured as Sancho Panza.
It's a mix of baby boomers and borderline senior citizens, young folks, and it's a unique opportunity to learn from each other. And their energy infuses us, and hopefully our alleged wisdom impacts them.
One can only hope. With Buzz Tennant and the Man of La Mancha in the spotlight, I'm Kirk Matthews.
Man of La Mancha will be performed next Friday and Saturday at the Palace Theater in Hilo, and the following Friday and Saturday, July 19th and 20th, at the Aloha Theater in Kona. Some Hawaiian green sea turtles find independence this holiday weekend. That story when we return.
On Saturday, July 13th, Super Brawl champ Egan Inoue may step into the squared circle for the last time. And what he had stated will be his retirement match. Egan will put his Super Brawl belt on the line against his most exciting opponent ever. Number 4 world-ranked Dutchman, Martin de Jong. Plus, Shudo's top superstars. Catch Hawaii's own Egan Inoue in what may be his last Super Brawl appearance. Saturday night, July 13th, Blaisdell Arena. Be there!
You won't find high fees or service charges at Hawaii State Federal Credit Union. but you will find almost everything else. Hawaii State Federal Credit Union. We're working for you.
There's been a tendency over the last 5 to 6 years to require less and less insurance. And, when people get in an accident, they understand how important it is to be adequately insured. They say, what? That's all the insurance there is. And so, or worse yet, people that injure them have no insurance. So you never know if you're going to be an accident victim or not. If you are, it's good to be prepared.
If your family is looking for some summertime fun that's free and also educational, head to the former Barbers Point Naval Air Station. That's where you'll find the Hawaii Museum of Flying. As Ramsey Wharton reports, for 3 years, the hands-on museum has been helping Hawaii's aviation history come alive.
On a small portion of the now Kalaeloa Airport, you'll find several military aircrafts, vehicles, and equipment just waiting to be touched. It's no ordinary museum. There are no ropes to stand behind, no do not touch signs, just ladders begging to be climbed.
Climb in the aircraft, walk around it, learn about it, touch it, play with it. And that's how you inspire kids that are become the engineers, they're going to become the pilots, and they'll become astronauts. That's going to take aviation to its next step in the future, and those are the kids we want to grab now.
There are fighter jets, including one used in the movie Top Gun, a large Navy P-3 Orion aircraft, similar to the one that went down in China last year, and we're told this is the largest fire truck in Hawaii.
It's pretty fun.
7-year-old Cameron Roberts and his brother are loving every minute of this, and Mom, well, she couldn't be happier.
Oh, I just mentioned airplanes, military jeeps, fire trucks, anything like that, and they were ready.
There's also a Russian-made anti-aircraft gun taken from Iraq during Desert Storm, a Korean War-era Jeep, and this CH-53 Sea Stallion helicopter that's coming back from being used on a nearby Bruce Willis movie set. This Marine aircraft was part of the presidential fleet under the Nixon, Ford, and even Clinton administration, transporting members of the Secret Service, staffers, and, of course, members of the press corps. But you're more apt to see it in the upcoming Bruce Willis film, with Willis jumping out of the back of the helo. The Hawaii Museum of Flying is free to the public, but the nonprofit group does accept donations. It's open 7 days a week, but you will need to call ahead for an appointment. From Kalaeloa, Ramsey Wharton, Channel 2 News.
For appointments and more information on the Hawaii Museum of Flying, call 682-4041. The museum's curator says they'll soon be adding 3 Hawaii agricultural aircrafts to the collection. On the Big Island, a group of Hawaiian green sea turtles had many reasons to celebrate on the 4th of July. They were all granted true freedom when they were released into the wild at the 13th annual Turtle Independence Day. The Manolani Resort has been receiving juvenile sea turtles, or honu, from Oahu's Sea Life Park since 1989. Officials raise the honu in saltwater ponds until they grow to a size deemed appropriate for release. The Hawaiian green sea turtle is currently categorized as a threatened species. Hundreds of Maui residents also had ample reason to celebrate this Independence Day. More than 100 world-class wines were featured for sampling at the 21st annual Kapalua Wine and Food Festival. Participants freed their appetites as they indulged in great food and drink. The prestigious 4-day event is Hawaii's longest-running culinary festival. The event concludes with the Grand Kapalua Seafood Festival tomorrow evening. Boy, that looks pretty. Good stuff there. Steve Uehara here now with sports and some good news, some bad news for a couple of major leaguers with local ties.
Right, Malia, we told you earlier at 6 o'clock about Benny Agbayani being pulled down to the AAA. We also have some news about former Iolani standout Mike Fetters, and we'll bring that to you when our Channel 2 News continues.
Hey, yo, this message is to let all my peeps know what they should be doing with tobacco products. What's that? Just leave them where they at. Before you pull them out the pack, man, leave them where they at. And if your friends think you're whacked out, leave them where they at. When your body starts to hurt and then you don't know what's the answer, not knowing that you're dying by sticks of lung cancer, leave them where they at. Non-smokers are the cool ones, leave them where they at. And if you're smoking to your food, son. Smoking is a choice, so while you're puffing and you're cruising, think about the money and the health that you've been losing. When you think about buying, leave them where they at. Little kids who want to try them, leave them where they at. 300 million people dying, leave them where they at. Tobacco company always lying, leave them where they at. These multi-million-dollar businesses are ran by gray-suit idiots and focus advertisement on everybody's kids. Don't listen, use your mind, you're in charge of yourself. Brought to you by Hawaii State Department of Health. Yo, you think they got the message? I don't know. So let's tell them again. Before your breath starts to stink, leave them where they at. Before you buy them, you should think, leave them where
The U.S. softball team took on China tonight in the 2002 U.S. Cup. The Americans coming off a grueling 1-0 win over the Australians last night, hoping to make tomorrow's championship game. We start off in the third inning. Natasha Watley at first. Check out the speed. She turns on the burners as she steals second. That sets this up. Jessica Mendoza at bat rips the double down the left field line. Watley comes in to score. China showing some D later. Stacey Nuverman gets a piece of this one. It goes off the first baseman, but Tao Hua is there to make the play. The Americans with some defense of their own. Pitcher Lori Harrigan picks up the chopper, throws it to first to end the inning. The U.S. not done, though. Bottom of the fourth, Nina Lindbergh up to bat, cranks the solo home run to left field. Team USA goes on to win this one 3-0. In the earlier game, Canada taking on Japan, Erin Comstone at bat. She rips it to right field line, but Misako Ando there to make the play at first. More defense, the pitch to Shannon Rossiter. She pops up. Ando again with the grab. Japan takes the game 1-0. They play the U.S. tomorrow in the championship match. Now, local boy Benny Agbayani got some disappointing news today. The Colorado Rocky outfielder got sent down to AAA Colorado Springs after yesterday's game against San Diego. Benny is batting a low 205, but he did have a couple of exciting hits. The former St. Louis and HPU star has 4 home runs this season, including a grand slam. But not enough as Agbayani slid into a 6-for-42 slump at the plate. The Rockies recalled Ben Petrick to shore up their outfield. Petrick was supposed to be the Rockies starting catcher from 2001 until his retirement. This time he will be splitting time with Todd Hollinsworth in the outfield. Former Iolani standout Mike Fetters has a new home in the big leagues tonight. The Pittsburgh Pirate was traded to defending World Series champion Arizona Diamondbacks. Fetters is 1-0 this season with a 3.26 ERA in 32 appearances this season. The 37-year-old was 2-1 in 52 games for the Pirates since they acquired him from the Dodgers last season. National League action now. At Fetters' new team, Arizona taking on San Francisco. Randy Johnson on the mound. Top of the first, Johnson gets his man swinging. That ties him with Don Sutton at 6th in the all-time list. It wouldn't stand for long. Top of the second, Johnson again. He passes Sutton to stand alone at the 6th spot. But it wasn't all roses for Arizona's ace today. Top of the 6th, Barry Bonds at the plate. 2 out, none on. Barry with a solo shot. His 26th of the season and his first ever off the big unit. San Francisco wins 3-2. American League, Blue Jays and Yankees. Toronto goes off in the third inning. Jose Cruz Jr. rips a 2-run double out to left field. 3-0 Jays. Same inning, Vernon Wells with the RBI double to right. Toronto up 4-0. Next up, Josh Phelps takes this one to right as well. The throw to home not in time. Jays go on to win this one 8-3. Yankees just a game in front of the Red Sox now. Boston taking on Detroit. Pedro Martinez pitched 5 solid innings as the Red Sox shut out the Tigers 8-0. Serena and Venus Williams met in the finals of the Wimbledon Championship today, their third Grand Slam title in the past 10 years. Little sister Serena leading Venus onto the court today. First set, Serena in the far court dumps a backhand that catches the net. That break levels the score 5-5. The little sis, she brought her game. First set tie break. Serena again in the far court hits the net again. Venus dumps it back over. Serena takes advantage, nails the backhand down the line. And she's pumped. Set point, Serena closes it out in style. The 100-mile-per-hour ace sends Venus swinging at air. Second set now. Venus serving, Serena with a strong backhand return. Venus unable to handle, slaps it right into the net. Serena goes on to win in straight sets 7-6, 6-3. Later, the two teamed up, put it behind them in the